Hello everybody, thanks for joining us again for another episode of Between Guitars. And next to me, the great Josh Smith, who I think we all know. Might be a little bit late, but congratulations on the new album.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Yeah,
No
thanks
problem.
for having me.
I love it. Of course. You're always welcome. You're on tour here in Europe.
Yep, just got here yesterday.
Okay, great.
And played the first show in Germany yesterday, and we got 3 weeks worth of gigs.
Okay,
so
cool.
we'll be all over the place. Yeah.
First gig, how did it go?
It was great, really
Yeah?
full crowd, so
Cool.
can't
Awesome.
complain. Yeah.
Awesome. I think the question we're all burning to ask is how the hell did you get so good on the guitar?
Oh, well, geez, man. Well, let's see. Besides hard work, I mean,
Of course.
I'm 39 years old. I've been playing guitar now since I was 6, so
Okay, wow. Okay.
it's 30,
That's-
33 years of guitar playing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the main factor, I
Yeah.
guess, would just be time. And I'm serious about it. I still work very hard all the time, trying to be better tomorrow than I am yesterday.
Cool.
It's important to me.
And then picturing a 6-year-old Josh, why the guitar?
My parents bought me a guitar just like as a surprise when I was 6 years old. I actually bought it when I was 3 years old, on the day that my sister was born.
Yeah.
Because our birthdays are very close together, and I think my birthday got overlooked because my mom was pregnant and about to have a baby any day. And for some reason, on the day that my sister was born, my dad stopped at a music store on the way home from the hospital and bought a guitar and brought it home to me.
Yeah.
He's not a
Awesome.
musician. In fact, nobody in my family plays guitar or anything, and
They
I
just
think
figured,
he just thought maybe
let's start here,
Yeah.
see how it goes.
And by the time I was 6, I kind of had just carried around the house a lot. And at 6, I asked for lessons. That's when I started taking lessons. From 6 till about 13, I took lessons all the time. And by 13, I was playing gigs all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
You're kidding?
No.
Where did you live back then?
In Florida.
Okay.
I grew up in South Florida by Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty big music scene.
There is a good music scene there. University of Miami has always been a really well-known school for jazz and music, and so there were always good musicians. And there's besides all the Latin music, there's also a big history of soul music from Miami, which is surprising. People don't know as much about it, but there's a big history of that down there. And by the time I was 12, I was getting frustrated with not finding people my age. Number one, that were as good as I was at that age. I had already put in a lot of work and was playing good. And if there were guys my age who were good, a lot of times they were into music that I was not into. Because at the time it was kind of the end of heavy metal and the beginning of grunge, like Nirvana, Jam and stuff. And not that I disliked that, but it wasn't what I loved. I loved blues and jazz and rock and roll and
to pair up with the old guys.
So it became okay. I have to go find adults to play with, And so around 12, I started going to open jams and stuff and sitting in. And some old guys saw some, fans get excited about this little kid, and they thought, oh, if we book gigs with this little kid, we probably can get more shows, So they hired me to be in their band, and that was how it started for me.
That's how it all started. And you still took lessons at that age when you started gigging?
Yeah, for the first 6 months, a year while I was gigging, I was still going to lessons every week. And but then it just became I was playing too much to keep up with lessons. And also I realized, like, as important as lessons are and all that stuff, I was growing so much faster on gigs. It was really the gigs that made you you grow so quickly once you start playing gigs. Yeah.
Because you just got to make it up in the moment, or how would you figure it out?
It's a lot of things. I mean, as an improviser, yes. So, there's no, replacement for just hours and hours of being on a gig improvising. But also there's all these things you can't learn anywhere but on stage, like things like how to play in an ensemble, how to have good time and those type of things, and not just a good time with a metronome, like good time in a band situation, how to play rhythm guitar, how to back up when somebody's singing or when someone else is soloing. you can't learn those things other than on gigs.
Of course
it's
not,
just
no.
so once I started playing those gigs, yeah, you start just growing so much faster. Yeah.
That's a crazy story. At such a young age,
Yeah.
start gigging.
It is. I mean, looking back on it now, it is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I played a lot of gigs as a very young guy, and I think that's partially responsible for me being where I am now.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's no replacing just hours and time.
No, of course. No.
You know, I was going at that time when I started high school at 13. I was every day come home from school playing guitar all day, and then at night a gig. You know, many nights. And that's, you know, I was just playing all the time. Yeah.
And you finished school after that, or how did...
I finished school, yeah. So by 16, I was gigging all the time, and I had records already. I put my first record out when I was 14.
You're kidding.
And we toured around America in the summer between school, you know, and my summer break, and started to, you know, get some recognition and do things. And I knew I didn't want to go to college. Not that I was against it, but I knew like I already knew what I wanted to do with my life. I was doing it. So, but I had to kind of, I guess, to make my grandparents and my parents happy.
As we all do.
Do good in school and finish high school and all that. So I had to keep my grades up. That was like part of the deal if I was going to be out gigging at night and things like that. And but yeah, the second I graduated from high school when I was 17, that was it.
That was it.
Straight into full-time gigging. Yeah.
So no music college after that or nothing?
No.
Okay.
Straight to full-time gigs. That's it. Yeah.
And were there any influences at that early age? Were there CDs lying around the house or big heroes of yours?
Well, my parents had a giant record collection.
Okay, cool.
Vinyl collection, and I was lucky. They like good music. They just love music. You know, they, like I said, they don't play, but they love music. And so my dad loved rock and roll and blues. So he had a huge album collection of Rolling Stones and Allman Brothers and The Who and Bruce Springsteen, but also B.B. King and Albert King and Otis Rush, even Robert Johnson, Son House. Like he had a huge collection.
Yeah.
Also, but like Coltrane, Miles Davis, Wes Montgomery, Sonny Rollins. So I would go through these records and just put things on. And then my mom, who also loved all those same things my dad loved, she also loved soul music and R&B. So she liked Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding and Temptations and Motown and Stax.
Yeah.
So I would just go in there and grab these records and listen to this stuff all day, you know.
And play along? Or
play,
not even?
always play along.
Yeah.
And, you know, B.B. King was first for sure. It really, really grabbed me. And Albert King. But then, you know, I was 10 when Stevie Ray Vaughan passed away.
Okay.
So I didn't know him that much until he had passed away. And when I finally got someone gave me a video, a VCR, you know, VHS of Live at the Al Macambo before it actually came out. It was a bootleg at the time. And so I put it in and watched it. And this is before the internet, so this was the first time I saw him play.
Yeah.
You know, not
You'd
just
heard him
the
before,
records. but I'd never seen Stevie Ray Vaughan play. And when I put this video in, it was like life-changing. You know? I'd never seen somebody just play so hard and sweating like crazy and playing, you know, 150%. And that was a big moment. Like, I want to do that, you know. And so I just listened to this stuff and practice and play and take it to the gig, go play. And for the first few years, it was, you know, for me, it was all B.B. King, Albert King, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
That was my thing, you know. And then by the time I was around 15, I started to realize that I was just sounding like my heroes only, you know. And I'd learned this and played their licks. And I was at a festival where another band was playing, and it was all adults, you know, 40-year-old guys or whatever. And they were playing all Stevie Ray Vaughan, and
Yeah.
it was like a light bulb of, you know what, I need to find my voice now.
Yeah,
you know,
and all these guys dressed like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
yeah. I was too at the time, but I was a kid, you know, so.
The
But
hats.
seeing an adult do it, it was like, oh, maybe this is not the path to be going down.
Okay,
you
yeah.
know? So I made almost like a, you know, conscious decision at that moment, like, okay, you have to find your thing on the instrument. And that's a lifelong
Your own sound.
thing, but
yeah.
but I've always followed that direction of, you know, trying to find what makes me, you know.
That must be tough if you're always in between different ensembles and bands and maybe session work to
Yeah.
find your own sound when they maybe ask for a very specific kind of sound.
Well, the session world is different. I didn't get into that until I moved to Los Angeles.
Okay,
Which
okay.
was in 2002. So in 2002 I was 22. So I had done nothing but play blues, play my own music,
Okay,
play, you know,
yeah.
be Josh. So that's great, but it's not necessarily the best thing for trying to be a working guitar player, like
No.
a session guy or something. So when I moved to LA, I moved there with the goal of being a sideman, being a session guy.
Okay, yeah.
And I had no idea what that meant, really. Like, and yeah, so like you said, there was a lot of things I had to learn. Like even just tone. Like the only tone I cared about up until that day of moving there was my tone.
Yeah.
I didn't care about getting, like, you know, learning how to get the edge delay or learning why does an AC30 sound this way on Tom
Yeah.
Petty records or Beatles records, or why does, you know, why should I use a Marshall in this situation, or why is this a Rickenbacker or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't care about any of that stuff. So I had to learn that. I had to learn, you know, how to play parts and you know, come up with parts, not just play parts, but come up with ideas,
Yeah.
hooks, learn how to be a session guy. So that was a lot of new learning, and, you know, I dove in like real deep on that at first.
Okay.
And but still, there's a group of, you know, everybody kind of finds what their thing is. And certainly there's a lot of guys in LA and just professional guys in general around the world who their skill is maybe necessarily not to have as much of their own personality in their playing,
Yeah.
but to be more of a chameleon, you know, to be
Yeah.
able to play like a lot of guys, to give you exactly what you want, be very perfect. And
Yeah.
I started noticing the sessions that I was getting called for and the gigs that I were getting called for were more often than not gigs where they wanted me to kind of be me a little bit, because I started to get a reputation for somebody
Yeah, of
who
course,
was good
yeah.
at certain things. And
Yeah.
so I was getting those calls, which is a blessing, but also a curse, because if you only care about working and making a living, sometimes you want those gigs that, you know, you don't need any personality for. You just want the paycheck, you know. So it was interesting kind of finding my way in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. By the sounds of it, you maybe weren't much of a gear guy before all
I
that
wasn't-
happened?
No, I was not until I
No.
moved to LA. And
Okay.
no, don't get me wrong, I love guitars and you
Of
know,
course.
but I wasn't as knowledgeable, and now I consider myself very, very knowledgeable about
Yeah.
gear and but yeah, up until then I was just about getting my personal tone that I was hearing, you know. And so I didn't learn what, like, I used to not like AC30s at all.
No.
I thought I didn't understand why anybody wanted to use a Vox amp.
Yeah.
It sounded not good to me as a kid. Now I always have one, you know.
Yeah.
And tonight I'll have my Super Reverb and the AC30, you know. That's my favorite combination, you know.
Okay.
So it's like,
Cool.
I wouldn't have done that unless I had gone
No.
down that path of, you know, learning about gear and all that was trying to get jobs, you know,
Yeah.
learning how to work, yeah.
And does that mean your guitar collection has grown with you as well?
Absolutely. I mean, because especially once you start doing sessions, you have to kind of have the tools to do the job.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, if a producer calls you and tells you in advance, I need you to come over and, you know, play on these couple of things. One thing is like a Tom Petty thing, and one thing is a Beatles type thing, but this other thing is like a AC/DC thing, and
Yeah.
and then you also need to play acoustic on this one thing. It's like, well,
You're like, shit,
I need
don't-
to have a Vox style amp and maybe a Rickenbacker guitar and maybe a humbucker guitar for sure, and a Marshall or at least a pedal that does a good Marshall and a good acoustic that's intonated properly. And these were all like things I had to learn, like, you don't,
the hard way.
Again, you don't know this stuff until you do it, until you're thrown into those situations. And so, it became, okay, little by little, what don't I have, and checking off the list. And there's still things I don't have, that I don't do as many sessions as I used to 10 years ago because now I'm mostly doing my own thing again. But so I've sold a few things that I wasn't using that I used to only have just for sessions. But you kind of need to fill all those boxes, for sure. Yeah.
And looking back, what's the favorite guitar you've owned in this period? In this lifetime, maybe?
Well, my favorite guitar is that black Tele that I play all the time. It's a Chapin.
Oh, yeah. The T-Bird.
Yeah, T-Bird. It's been my main one for 13 years, I think.
Wow.
And so it's still my number one. And
because that one has an honest relic to it.
Yeah.
Was it brand new when you got it?
It was brand new when I got it.
Cool.
Everybody asks all the time if it's a relic or something. And other people have ordered ones from Bill, and they assume that they'll get it from him, a copy of my guitar, and it will be relic like mine.
Yeah.
And they get a guitar that's just brand new black,
like what?
And it's like, no, that's the way it was when Josh got it, So that's my favorite guitar. At this point, I do have a lot of guitars.
How much?
Probably 35.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, could start your own guitar store, almost.
Yeah. But, they're all pretty different, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I have a collection that's mostly to cover all those, little areas, all the boxes,
Yeah.
But, the Tele is my favorite.
And how did that come to be? How did you get your hands on specifically that Telecaster?
Well, okay, so I was a Strat guy growing up because of Stevie and Hendrix and Curtis Mayfield, and Strat was always my favorite, right?
Yeah.
And when I moved to LA, I was still mostly a Strat guy. I had other Teles, and I owned Teles, but they were more like a specific for a job type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a Tele I just absolutely loved, No. Anyways, I met Bill Chapin, and he's the kind of guy that if you meet him and talk guitars with him, you will immediately just be blown away by how much knowledge he has, especially of Fender style, like solid body guitars. He grew up in Southern California around Fender and around Seymour Duncan and Red Rhodes and guys who have a lot of knowledge on pickups and electronics and guitars, and he just really knows his stuff. So I was super impressed, and so I ordered a guitar from him, a Strat though, of course, because that was my favorite thing. So he makes me this Strat, and I get it, and I love it. It becomes my favorite guitar for a while. And so then he's like, well, what do you want next? He wanted to order another guitar. And I was like, you know what? I should get a Tele. I need to have a great one. And I had just played a custom shop. Fender had done the very first Tele Esquire prototypes, the Snakehead.
Oh, yeah.
Were pine body Esquires, right? And I had played this pine body Esquire, like custom shop one, and loved it. And I said, I want to do a pine body Esquire.
Okay, I would never have guessed that was a pine body.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's not?
No,
Oh.
so, but this is the story. So I said, I want to order a pine body Esquire. So he's like, okay, no problem. So he starts making the neck first, and he makes the neck the same as the Strat neck, but one-piece maple neck. It's a V shape. That's my favorite.
Okay, cool.
And so he makes the neck, and he's still kind of starting on the body a little bit, finding pine. I think he had gotten the pine, and he was getting ready to cut the body. And then I got this gig with this guy, Taylor Hicks, who had just won American Idol. And I knew I was going to need a Tele for this tour, and I didn't want to take I think I just had some American Standard Tele. And so I called Bill, and I was like, listen, I know you finished my neck already. How quick can you finish a body, but make it a full-on Tele, no more Esquire. I want a two-pickup like Tele. I need it for this tour.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, the pine, I won't be able to do it in time, but I just cut out a really nice ash body.
Okay.
He's like, I can throw that together quick as long as you want, as long as we do like a solid color or something. And I said, yeah, just paint it black and finish it as fast as you can. And, you know, make it just a regular telly.
Yeah.
So that's what he did. He just sprayed one coat of black and finished this guitar as quick as he could and got it to me. And of course, it became my #1 guitar for the last 13 years. Yeah. Sometimes it just
clicks.
It just clicks. And it was like the second I got this guitar, it was like, this is magic, you know?
Did you ever get the Pine Body Esquire?
No, never got it.
Never needed it?
No.
Cool. It's a cool story.
Yeah.
And if you put together acoustic and electric, which one would be your favorite?
Acoustic? D18 is my favorite.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, D18 has always been my favorite.
We can all agree.
Yeah, I like mahogany bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I had the money one day to have a pre-war,
yeah,
would be the dream acoustic.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I like J45s as well. I like Stellas. I have some cool ladder brace guitars.
Okay, cool.
You know, especially for blues, there's such a
Yeah.
great sound. I have a great one of those Collings ladder brace,
Yeah.
Waterloo.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
great, man. It's for the money. I think they're pretty unbelievable.
Definitely.
I have a guitar this guy in Milwaukee made. I mean, Madison, Wisconsin, called Fralini. He makes
Never
a lot
heard
of
of it.
Stella style guitars, ladder bracing. It's a really cool one. I have a great resonator from this guy in Detroit, Mule.
Oh yeah, yeah,
resonators.
yeah. Yeah, we've had a couple of those.
Yeah, it's
actually.
really
That's
excellent.
great.
It's so
yeah.
loud. It's like a cannon, and but
Heavy
yeah,
as well.
it's really really heavy. And but yeah, if I the dream would be a D18, like a
Pre-war.
serious
Yeah.
D18. Yeah.
Well, LA, you're near Normans. Perhaps
he
one
has
day.
many D18s
Yeah.
there all the time. Yeah. Yeah, because you can find, if you go through many, you can find 60s one that's nice.
Yeah,
50s
yeah,
ones
of
for
course.
sure that are great.
Even the new ones, there
Yeah.
are a couple that are just really good.
But every now and then I'll go into Norms and there'll be like a 41 or a 38 you pick up and just strum a chord. It's like, holy cow, you know?
Yeah,
Because 30s ones are just, every one
They're
I've ever
magic.
played is just magic.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the money.
But yeah.
That's
the money,
always an issue.
the money. Yeah. Yeah.
I read that you played 13s
I
on
do.
your electric.
Yeah.
Is that a Stevie thing?
A little bit is a Stevie thing. There's a few reasons I do it. The tone, of course, is just better. I think also it stays in tune better.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
The other thing I like about playing the heavy strings is that it puts me in the right headspace at the gig.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean it doesn't allow me to phone it in or half-ass the gig.
No,
Like I have to
you have to work it.
Absolutely, it makes you work hard,
Yeah.
and I like that.
Because I've seen
feeling.
you bend full notes on those things.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
how?
Well, I've been playing
Yeah.
the gauge since I've been playing 13 since I was 15 years old.
Wow.
So that's a long time, and I'm used to it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that it makes you work, and
Yeah,
I
okay.
like that feeling. So it makes me work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you switch to acoustics, still 13s?
Yeah, 13s on
Just
acoustic
always.
systems, Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So actually, some acoustics like 12s,
Yeah?
just because I like the way they sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we string most of these up with 12s. Pretty much the same.
It depends on the guitar.
Yeah.
But some acoustics I like the way they sound better with
Yeah.
12s and 13s. Yeah.
But the dream would be pre-war D18 still. The dream guitar.
That
in
would be the
future.
dream acoustic, yeah, for sure. Also, man, there's an Epiphone that I've wanted for a long time. That
Okay.
Navarre, Epiphone Navarre. It's a really
never heard of
rare
it. Have you?
guitar. It's a really rare acoustic. It's like Epiphone's Roy Smeck, kind
Oh,
of.
cool. Yeah.
It's really big.
Yeah.
Norm has had a couple over the years, and I played one that just was unbelievable acoustic guitar. I'd like to have one of those eventually. And I'd like to have a round hole arch top. Norm
Cool,
had
yeah.
a really cool round hole L5 that blew me
Yeah.
away.
Whoa.
And I played an unbelievable round hole D'Angelico.
Cool,
That just
yeah.
was unreal. Best arch top I've ever played in my life. I'd like to have one like that.
Yeah. And what about electrics?
Electrics, like dream ones.
Yeah.
57 Strat was always my dream guitar
Okay,
growing up. Like I love 57 Strat because I love V-necks.
Yeah.
I love the combination of alder body with a maple neck. It's so great. So like in the Fender world, my dream is a 57 Strat and a 58 like white guard telly.
Yeah.
I would take a white guard telly over a black guard. Like I just love
Instantly.
that sound, the V-neck. That's my thing.
Yeah.
In the Gibson world, probably my dream Gibson guitar is not a Les Paul or a 335. I want a sharp cutaway L5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Florentine cutaway natural L5. That's my favorite Gibson guitar ever. You know, like a 61 sharp cut with PAFs. That would be amazing.
But you've never had one.
I've never had one. I will have one eventually.
Have you played one before?
Many, many times. Okay. Yeah. You know, because I mean, it's also more realistic than getting a burst or something.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a burst, and I've been lucky to spend a lot of time with real ones over the years, and they're great and magical, you know, but I'll never own one, so it's okay, you know. Yeah.
It's a crazy amount of money as well.
Yeah.
My next question was, when you're ripping through a solo, what do you think? What do you feel? Do you still think about the scales, or is it just, is it pure an improv thing?
Oh yeah, definitely improv. I mean, I'm trying not to think at all, quite honestly. The only thing I think is what chord is next.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking all the time. Because I have faith that I've built up enough knowledge of what to play at any moment on any chord. So what I really need to know is what's next so that I connect where I'm at now to whatever's happening next.
Yeah.
So that's normally the main thing I'm thinking. The rest of the time I'm just trying to be truly in the moment and playing, this sounds silly, but I think about it this way, playing what's honest. And by that I mean playing really, really what I'm hearing and feeling. Not trying to show off or play something that I think people will, I should play this because that guy in the audience is going to react if I play this lick, you know. No, I'm trying to really, really play what I'm hearing and feeling, because to me that's honest, and people will connect with that and feel it. And that's what I'm trying to do at all times, is play from the heart and play what I'm hearing and feeling.
Cool.
And so that's what I'm thinking, is just nothing. You know.
Keep it empty up here.
Yeah. Really, yes. I'm trying to just be in the moment and play, you know, and rely on the fact that, okay, I've done the homework. I know plenty of things to play on this stuff. So I can rely on muscle memory and all this knowledge that I have to just play freely.
To the point where you just forget the guitar?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool. And you've had quite the musical journey from such a young age, I didn't even know. Yeah. Would you have any tips for beginning players, maybe at that age? Would you recommend your path?
Yeah, take gigs as quickly as possible.
Yeah?
Every gig you can. Even if it's, you know, playing weddings, doing covers, you know, do it. Learn. I mean, that helps tremendously.
Yeah.
You know, learning Earth, Wind and Fire songs and playing at a wedding, or playing, you know, with your friend from school, singer-songwriter, a girl or guy, you know, learn their songs, go back them up at a small gig, you know, for $20, you know. That every gig you do, you just grow so much quicker than sitting in your room practicing. Now, of course, you still need to do that too, but man, just every gig you can get teaches you something.
Yeah.
And it might not even be musical. It may teach you that your gear sucks and your good intonation on your guitar is terrible, and you need to figure out, you know, how to be in tune better, because maybe you're in tune in your room, but you're not in tune with anyone else, you know, or maybe your time is not good, you know, and you can't learn that unless you're out on the gig playing with other people.
Learn it the hard way.
You learn something new on every gig. Every gig. It may be, like I said, not even musical. It may just be learning how to show up on time, be a nice guy, be the guy that people want to be in a band with, you know, like those are things you have to learn.
That's some inspiring stuff. I've got a few questions from some fans.
Okay.
Yesterday I dropped it on social media. You would be visiting us. Okay. And some people had a few questions for you.
Sure.
Well, the first one is how old were you when you first started playing? We already covered that.
Yeah.
But the same guy asked, blues or jazz?
Blues or jazz?
Yeah. No and on this one.
Well, first off, there wouldn't be any jazz without blues. So, you know, to me, there's no difference. I mean, it's just music.
Yeah.
Now, the blues is the building blocks of all improvisational music. So, you know, singing, playing, it's all coming from the blues, you know. Melodies built around that pentatonic scale. This has been, you know, in all popular music, really. But I don't differentiate between blues and jazz because it's all improvisation to me. And as an improv guy, you're trying to tell a story with what you do. Now, for me, I find it less interesting to listen to somebody's story if it doesn't have blues in that story.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the blues is what enables people in the audience who don't play an instrument and who haven't gone to music school to relate to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you give them, they can immediately relate to that and understand and have something to feel.
Yeah.
You know, so I was once I had played a gig and came down, and a really, really famous musician was in the audience who's a friend. And I won't say who it was, but he came up to me after the gig and he said, "Man, great show, Josh." He's like, "Just once I would love to hear you just completely play no blues, just all jazz, you know, just go for it 100%.
Go crazy.
I don't want to just play a solo with no blues in it." I said, "You will never hear me ever play a solo without any blues in it, because it's not a solo I want to hear."
No.
You know what I mean? Blues is what gives that conversational manner to a solo. And like I said, it's what enables the audience to actually have something to grab onto and relate to. And so, you know, it's not pick one or the other.
No.
But just me personally, without blues, there would be nothing else anyways. No. So blues is always first for me.
Well, dear sir, I hope you've got your answer there.
Yeah.
And Joris Bosman asked, what's your favorite lick and your least favorite lick?
What's my favorite lick? My favorite, definitely my most favorite lick is B.B. King. Whatever. Any B.B. King lick, but there's one in particular that is my favorite, where it goes up a minor third. That's my favorite lick in all music of all time. Least favorite lick?
That's an interesting question, to be honest.
Least favorite lick? I don't know. What could be least favorite lick? Like, probably like the cliche.
Yeah, grab a guitar.
I'm over that lick for sure. I don't need to ever hear that lick ever again. Yeah.
So don't play that one, or Josh will come and get you. And the next question is, what's your desert island album if you had to choose one?
Ooh. That's really difficult, man. One record forever? Wow. Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I don't know that I can choose one record. And I don't want to cheat and choose like a compilation or something.
Not a greatest hits.
Yeah, or a greatest hits. Maybe B.B. King, Blues is King.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or Live at the Regal.
Yeah.
But blues, I like Blues is King more than Live at the Regal, because it's a little more raw. Even though it's the same time period, it's kind of messed up, and I like that. The reverb turns off and on, and there's weird like punches and edits and stuff. But Blues is King has always been one of my favorites. I might be Blues is King, because it'd be like if I said All Kind of Blue or Giant Steps or something. That's too cliche, and honestly, I wouldn't want to listen to that every day for the rest of my life. I'd rather listen to somebody singing, and playing, and you know, like. So it'd probably be B.B. King. It might be Ray Charles. Like I might choose, but then what album? You know, I don't know. So let's go with B.B. King. Blues is King.
Cool. Next question is, how do you deal with low volume gigs?
Yeah, I'm not. That's a difficult thing. I like to play loud.
Yeah.
And part of my tone relies on headroom. You know,
Yeah, of course.
I prefer to have a amp with a lot of clean headroom. I don't like a lot of compression in my tone. So some of that relies on having that headroom. But you know, we've all been in the situation where the sound guy's yelling at you, or you know, also sometimes you just have to be honest. You walk into a room and it's this big. If it's one room and it's a little teeny stage, you can't just bring 200 watt amps in there.
No.
But I mean, it's not pleasant for anyone in the room. So kind of, you got to find that happy medium,
Sweet spot.
where everybody is okay, which is not always easy, man.
No.
I don't like using baffles. You know, like Bonamassa, he uses all that plexiglass
Yeah,
in front
I've seen
of his
that.
amps, and I'm not a big fan of that, you know. But it does enable him to turn his amps up as loud as he wants, but it also changes the tone drastically on stage, you know. So I'm still always kind of trying to find the best method for doing that. You know, for me, it's finding the right wattage amp. That's why I like 40 watt amps, like a Super Reverb. Super Reverb has like a special volume that in clubs it works just at the right level.
Yeah.
You know, it breaks up enough that it's not sterile like a twin reverb, so it has some character, but it also has enough headroom that you can play with pedals and it doesn't just fold over itself and fall apart, you know. So it's about finding kind of the right wattage for the situation. So for me, normally that means 40 watts. But in small situations, it would be, you know, more of a deluxe at 22 watts, or Princeton 12 watts. So I have one for each situation, kind of. You know.
Just get yourself many amps.
Really, yes. You know, if I'm in a singer-songwriter situation, I'll bring a 12 watt amp.
Yeah.
If I'm at a regular gig but in a small room, and maybe the drummer's not hitting that hard, I'll bring 22 watt amp. Yeah. And if I'm at my normal gigs, I'll bring a 40 watt amp. And if I'm at my gigs, I'll bring two 40 watt amps.
Yeah.
You know, and that's more for, I use the Super Reverb and AC30 more because I like the tone of them combined, not because I need the extra volume from two of them.
Yeah.
It's more about the sound that they make together.
You always use them combined?
Always, at all times. Yeah.
Cool. And the last question we got in a couple of times, and I think we covered it, but it's a fun note to end on, is why those big strings?
Well, I'll tell a little story about the big strings besides the benefits that I mentioned already.
Yeah.
This is the truth as well. When I was 14 or 15, I used to hang out at this club all the time. And I had started to get a name and be popular because I was playing a lot, you know. So artists would come from out of town and they would know I'd be hanging around. And a lot of times I would get asked to sit in. So an artist was in from out of town, I won't say who, was a singer. And they asked if I wanted to sit in, but I didn't have my guitar. So their guitar player said, well, you can use my guitar, no problem. And I look and he's got a 63 Strat. I was like, oh, great, I'd love to play your guitar. So anyways, show starts, they call me up halfway through the show, guy hands me his guitar, and I proceed to try to play this thing, and it has the heaviest strings I've ever felt. And at this point I was
Piano
probably using
strings.
tens, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't play the guitar. So I said to him at the end of the gig, what's up with your guitar? What gauge strings were those? And he goes, they're 13s. And I was just shocked, you know?
Yeah.
The next day, I asked my father to drive me to the music store, and I bought the heaviest pack of strings I could find in the store, had a wound G. I put them on my guitar, the neck went, you know? But I was determined to not let that ever happen to me again. I was like, I'm gonna learn to be able to play the heavy strings so that will not happen to me again. And that was how the first time I put them on my guitar.
You just fell in love.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thanks so much
You're welcome,
for taking
man.
the time,
Yeah.
Josh. I think we can finally play some guitars now and have a look around the store.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for watching, and if you have any more questions, leave a comment below and just let us know. Bye-bye.